This is Skip from the WSGF, and we're going to do something new that we've never done on the site before. We're going to go through a build log. I'm going to rebuild my HTPC, my living room PC here that I set up for the kids to play games, retro games, sort of indie games or smaller games. It's based on an AMD Kaveri APU. I originally built it here in this Silverstone SG-10 case, and the first thing I'm going to do is look at this case, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, sort of a prologue of why I'm choosing to rebuild. The primary reason is it looks like the motherboard died. I keep getting post errors where it can't see the drive or it doesn't see a drive attached, or if it does boot, it just randomly reboots. So here we'll take a look at some things that I did and didn't like about the case. Again, the Silverstone SG-10. We'll start by opening it up. See thumb screws here on the back for this top cover piece. Everybody loves thumb screws. It makes it easy to get in and out of a case for whatever you're doing. But then you quickly realize that it's not entirely toolless. So we've got this one little screw here that sort of breaks that whole experience. Means you got to find a screwdriver if you want to get into it. The screw's also kind of a pain to get in and out sometimes. From here, we'll take off the bottom part of the case. Again, a few thumb screws here, a couple of thumb screws. There actually is another normal screw here, which I've since lost, so I don't have to worry about taking that one out. You have spots here for 120 millimeter fan, and I think this would be 280s, so you can get a fair amount of airflow there. The case does come with a fan here on the rear, 120 millimeter, and then this large fan here that I really liked. It's got a switch on the back for high, medium, low. So with all of the airflow here, intake here through the back, and then also intake here through this side, going over this big passive cooler I have on the APU, and then out through the top, you can actually get pretty good cooling. A Kaveri-based system doesn't produce a lot of heat, although at one time I had an AMD Radeon 270X in there, but you can get good heat dissipation with fairly low noise. It's not a quiet PC by that community's definition, but it does a good job in a living room with kids playing games, being rowdy, normal noise levels and stuff coming off the TV. One thing you'll notice here, you may be able to see, is I actually had to cut through the motherboard plate here, the motherboard tray, to be able to get some of these large headers through. That was a bit of a pain. Wish there had been some more space in here to pull those items through, or actually a cutout here naturally, because I wouldn't want to pull those cables, you know, all the way across. On the back of the case, you have some really good space here, void for cable management. This power supply from Corsair, the RM650, is fully modular and has flat cables, so I was able to fold them over and get them tucked in nicely, and then spot for a solid state here on the back as well. One thing I really did not like about the case, or ended up not liking, is the option for the optical drive. I had thought that would be an asset or a benefit to the case, but it ended up really being unusable. You can see there's two little screws here to take out. From there, you've got this little retainer piece, and there's these two little nibs here that you can see if I catch it in the light just right. Those go in here to these two little holes on the side of the optical disc, and then it just slides in here on this side with these retaining clips. So there's really only one position to put it into. You have to put this on first, slot it in, and then you line up the holes. There's maybe a 1/4 of an inch of leeway forward or backwards that that you can get, but there's not a lot of variance. Assuming that Silverstone would make a case with a slot load open and then a slot load drive, you would think that they would work together, but they really don't. Anytime that you try to eject the disc, it gets caught here, it gets bound, it would stick out maybe a ½ inch or so. You'd have to grab it and pull it through. I'm not sure if there's a misalignment issue vertically. Again, there's nothing you can do to change that with how this is held in here, or there is some sort of felt or brush-like material here on the inside of the case to help keep dust out. Maybe it was getting bound in that. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I thought would be a feature, the optical drive to be able to watch Blu-rays or do game installs, or the original OS install, ended up not being really usable past that original OS install. So all in all, once it was set up, the case was okay, but realistically I ended up being fairly disappointed with it because it wasn't toolless, because of the issues with the slot load drive here, and because I did have to cut through the motherboard tray to be able to fully route wires for a clean and unobstructed airflow.